Just to
And
give
this
you,
is again,
yeah, to give folks an idea, you can also compare these statistics to when we're talking about the larger cities, and one of the big cities groups is San Francisco. So if you're taking San Francisco, for example, and you start from the center of the city, and you go out 3 miles in each direction, just within that 3-mile radius, San Francisco has 346 cell towers and 4,801 antennas within that 3-mile radius. So this is what's so unique about what's going on here with EMF and the transmission of EMF is there is a tremendous increase in the amount of cell towers and antennas in order to deliver this faster technology, this microwave technology. And this is why we're seeing the numbers go up. It's in relationship to the concentration of population and the numbers of cell towers and their antennas, as well as the technology that is being directed from those cell towers to the antennas and then into your homes.
Yes, so basically we can say that the lower the frequency, the longer it goes and the slower it is. So when they go to the higher frequencies, like 2 to 4 and above gigahertz, they have a short range and they need to have many more antennas. So the radiation will be much higher, and the download speed and upload speed will be much faster.
Yeah, so like in comparison, one of the most concentrated areas in the United States and probably the most active electromagnetic frequencies is in San Diego, California. And there's many reasons why you just don't have a downtown. You have an airport and you have military in that area. So there's over 2,200 cell towers and over 7,500 antennas. So when we're looking at San Diego as part of that big city group, San Diego in all of the state of California has the highest risk for exposure to electromagnetic fields because of the concentration of technology, cell towers, antennas that are distributing these microwaves at several different frequencies that are affecting the health of those who live there. And I think
Yes.
San Diego is showing up as one of the major cities. You'd have to go back and look at that, and I can show you exactly where those antennas are placed.
Yes, we see it in basically all the metros. They will have a dense antenna range, and there is different regulations, let's say, in different countries. So it's not everything the same, but what is the main difference is that if you have a metro, high buildings, a lot of concentration of people, you will have a very dense antenna construction area. So a lot of antennas, and typically also they will operate at higher frequencies in order to distribute more data. So it is a combination of that. It is a lot. There's a big need for data transmission, and that is you need then a combination of high frequencies and a lot of antennas, and so the total radiation is enormously higher there. And typically, you also have 3 different utilities companies who compete on this, and they don't really work together much. So basically, in most cases, at least, you will have 2 completely separate sets of antennas. And then you may have some who cooperate, but it's a high concentration, and it is high frequencies in the cities, whilst in the rural, that is not economic. So they tend to use lower frequencies, and it is less output. So the radiation in rural will be much lower for those reasons than in the metro. So San Diego, San Francisco, but let's say if you go to Riverside, it's a very wide area, but the population centers, the big ones, they will have much antennas. LA, you will have many kind of sub-cities, and you will have a huge number of antennas some places, and some other places might not. So if you go to the Bay Area, you have, let's say, San Francisco as one, you have the Sacramento as one, and you have, let's say, Oakland, or some places it's relatively more rural. And if you go north of the Bay Area, over the Golden Gate Bridge to Napa Valley and Sonoma, it is much more rural. So what we see in the statistics is that the top damage is in the big population counties, and the smallest damage typically is in the rural. And this is consistent, whether this is USA or Canada or Norway, Sweden, Scotland. So it is a function of the technology and the population, basically.
Mm-hmm. So San
if you look here,
San Francisco would actually has, which is interesting, has less towers and less antennas than San Diego, which has, to be exact now, I'll give you the correct statistics on this, 2,192 cell towers with 1,457 antennas. And if you compare that to other cities like Chicago, Washington, D.C., or even a dense population with lots of high towers, lots of high-rise buildings, which is Manhattan, New York, you see less cell towers, but here you will see more antennas to corroborate with what you're saying, depending on the density and of the population, and also the fact that buildings tend to make it more challenging to put up a lot of these cell towers. So they have more antennas.
And there are different, let's say, part of the puzzle is to understand that it is not just always economics, it's also a little bit of policy. So some cities like San Diego, I think they have defined themselves to be a 15-minute city. So those who have that kind of policy, they tend to get a lot more antennas. We see it again and again. There is variation between places, and it is partly regulations. The local, let's say, community, the county, they have some power in deciding how many antennas and where to put them, and they may be more strict and more liberal, and there are variations connected to that. But if you continue to look
another
at
example of that would be like Los Angeles, which has 334 cell towers and 3,340 antennas. So comparing that to San Diego and San Francisco, very similar to to San Francisco, dense population downtown, we're talking in a 3-mile radius from out of downtown Los Angeles. San Francisco is around the same area, but they have like 4,108 antennas. So, the denser the population, the more buildings, you're going to have more antennas and less towers, and that's a factor of do they have the ability to put towers out and transmit, where things are getting somewhat restrictive in those cities.
And if you look at LA, it's such a huge place, so you need a lot of antennas just to cover it, and because it's not really that much high rise, it's a lot of smaller buildings, and it's such a huge area. So linked to economics, they will have less than San Francisco and San Diego, which are much more compact, let's say. But okay.
Yeah, for example, if you went to Arizona, to Snowflake, Arizona, there's 11 towers and 59 antennas. That sounds more reasonable, but for the population of what, 20, 30,000, 20 or 30,000 people.
It tells a lot of things, because when you have a rather big area, they will also need to adjust the technology, so they will use lower frequencies.